Hi, welcome to Off Script. I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Today on the show, we'll be taking a look at Disney's new Black Widow, the exciting new Marvel movie. First one in theaters in 2 years, Andy. The longest we've gone without a gap in Marvel films since then was Hulk and Iron Man had 2 years between them. Other than that, we've had a Marvel movie every like 3 months. So this is a big one. First new superhero Marvel movie back in theaters. We went and saw it. We're going to tell you whether or not it's worth your time. Also, we took a look at Nobody, that Bob Odenkirk action thriller by some of the people who made John Wick. It's available on premium video on demand for like $6. We watched it, and we're going to let you know if it's worth the money. We're going to talk about Black Widow's box office numbers. I don't know if y'all remember, but coming up on this show, there was some speculation. I might have been the one who announced this on the show, that Black Widow was rumored to do better than Fast 9 at the box office. And I said, no way. No way Black Widow does better than Fast and Furious movies. And I might have been surprised. So we're going to talk about that in the middle of the show. Before we get to all of that, we need to cover the news. First things first, James Franco. Oh man, coming in hot this week with a headline that's actually not funny, and I probably shouldn't make a joke of it. Andy, what's this
about? Yes. So the title is James Franco to pay $2.2 million to settle sexual misconduct suit. We generally don't talk about these kinds of lawsuits or kind of Hollywood gossip, but I figured that I felt that this was an important thing to bring up and talk about. So what James Franco and company were doing is they set up this quote unquote like film school for people could basically come and take like, one-on-one private lessons or group lessons, that kind. It was makeshift acting school. People had to pay a hefty amount to do this, and but they were just kind of a cover for them to get young women to come to these classes so they could date them and also get money out of them. And part of what they, a lot of the things they would do things like, okay, today we're going to learn how to shoot a sex scene. And then like everyone's got to get naked. We got to practice our orgy scene. Like they would do a lot of these things that were like purposely very like require people to like get naked or half naked or whatever. And so that's what these settlement is for. They have to pay directly to a number of people, and there are also I think about $1 million of it goes to I think a nonprofit as well. So it's it was just kind of another example of, powerful people setting up this, the school to get people to go to shell out a bunch of money and also give them a supply of impressionable young women. So they have, like I said, they're having to pay a lot of money, and they're also not allowed to continue this school or whatever thing it was.
This is not. I'm not going to say this hits close to home because it doesn't. But like a few hundred yards away from home. Back when I was in school, I went to school for radio, television, film, so a little bit of movie stuff. And there were definitely students that talked about this. Like, hey, Franco is supposedly working on like some kind of acting school or something. Yeah, and they're going to have like an LA location. And a lot of us like were super intrigued by the idea. It's just like Matthew McConaughey teaching at University of North Texas for a semester. Like we were like, oh, that's so cool. Like he's going to have industry people in. I guess I say that to kind of illustrate like how valuable I think the students of these classes probably saw this service. How excited they were to be a part of it. Regardless of price, which I'm sure wasn't cheap. And how much of a shame it is that this is the way they were treated. Obviously, there's a lot around this case that we don't know. There's a lot of unknowns, a lot of things that are being kept under wraps for people's privacy and safety, and that's for the best. But I hope the three, it looks like three specific women and then this nonprofit who are all being paid out for, these crimes. I hope they can, I don't know, but find something a bit more rewarding out of that. It's really a shame, and I'm really frustrated by this story. So I'm glad we're taking an aside to talk about this, because Andy, you're right. This is not something we usually cover on this show, and I should not have opened with like laughing and chuckling about it. Excuse me.
Well, and this also kind of points to a lot larger issue that I've seen and witnessed, experienced myself as as I was a musician for a long time. Working and I was in a similar position of like wanting to get close to big name people, work with them, that sort of thing, help break into the industry. And people really exploit that dream and that hope that a lot of young people have to be an actor or an artist or whatever. And people will absolutely exploit that for financial or other types of gains. And that's definitely what's happening here, because that was part of what was promised, is like, it's an acting school, but we're also going to put you in touch with, industry insiders. We're going to get you auditions, all that kind of stuff. And none of that happened.
Yeah, like when I was in school, like a really big part of what they taught us was, your skills are important, but who is huge in the networking. And like all of my professors told me, they were like, we basically can't help you with that. And that's the one thing that like you probably need the most help in. This school would have solved both of those problems, right? Like the enticing ideal of being attached to this is tremendous. Frustrating, I think, in a word, is how I feel about this. I'm frustrated by it. With that, we should move on to our next story. Black Widow is killing it at the box office this week. Like I said at the top, I might have been a bit of a naysayer. Here, I thought the House of Mouse couldn't do it, and they showed me up once again. Black Widow spun $80 million this weekend, just in the U.S. alone, which is tremendous for pandemic earnings. And they also made a little money on Disney Plus, which was a surprise, I think.
Yes, that's the big story we're going to be talking about more in our middle segment. But yes, 80 million to open the weekend, which was about 10 million more than F9 and 30 million more than A Quiet Place 2. And also those were theatrical exclusives, so that there wasn't anywhere else to watch them. So it's really impressive that Black Widow made that amount of money in theaters while also being available at home, because that does cannibalize the theatrical pull a little bit. But also the streaming money is actually better for Disney, because they get to keep all of it, or at least they don't have to share near as much as what they do with theaters. But it's I was surprised as well, because I felt like, F9 probably, or Fast and Furious, just translates better overseas. So I figured they would just kind of do better overall. So I was really surprised as well. And like Black Widow, even though she's a main member of the Avenger, she's still kind of a B-list character, I hate to say it. So I wasn't expecting a lot of people to come out to see it. So, but great start for Marvel. I mean, like you said, over 2 years without a Marvel film, and for Disney, and again, we're starting to feel like we're back at the movies.
Yeah, I mean, this is tremendous. There's a couple other details about this that are worth mentioning. Number one, this movie has not yet come out in China and has no release date for China. That's a huge part of the global market that has not even touched this film. Chinese film is usually a big deal that distributors want to get into, Disney included. It has come out in a lot of places, but there's a lot of places that haven't seen it yet. In North America, there's a lot of theaters that are still closed. Canada has the same problem. Canada has that problem. Like, there's a lot of people who don't have the ability to watch this film at their local theater, and they can get on Disney Plus, and I think that's been a big part of their revenue. But I guess I'm surprised. Like I said, the last couple of weeks, I've been like, there's no way Black Widow beats Fast 9 at the box office. And like, not only did they beat them at home, they also beat them abroad. Hasn't come out in China yet, so I know there's still some numbers that way. But as far as opening weekend goes, like, stone cold stunner for the House of Mouse. Man, good for them. And one more thing while I'm thinking about it, males typically make up the majority going to see comic book films, but this is a female-driven comic book movie. Apparently, the statistics say 58% of the audience was males. Not too shabby. Not too shabby, ladies. You turned out. I would have thought that number would have been higher for sure. But hey, 58% feels good.
Well, see, that's the interesting part is really overall comic book movies bring in male audiences regardless of who the star is. So it's fun because the traditional thinking was, so if you have a female lead, it's going to bring in more females, less male. And it shows like comic books generally skew more male. So that's bringing in more of that. Yeah.
Well, let's not waste any more time. I want to talk about this movie because I have no idea what Andy thought about it. I really don't. We haven't talked about it yet, so I'm excited to get into it. Andy is going to be taking the summary on this one. So, Andy, please don't let me stop you. Take it away.
Black Widow. So after quite the hiatus in Marvel films, we have the Black Widow solo film starring Scarlett Johansson, once again taking on the role of Natasha Romanoff / Black Widow, member of the Avengers, former assassin. We find her this movie taking place right after the events of Civil War, where she's on the run. She's a fugitive from the law. So we haven't gotten to Infinity War just yet. She is eluding the powers that be after the Sokovia Accords. She ends up going to Budapest, however you decide to say it, and runs into her old colleague and sister, Yelena Belova, played by Florence Pugh, who is also a former Black Widow assassin as well. And we learned that there was basically a program or a place called the Red Room, which kind of trains and mind controls, kidnaps these young women, turns them into assassins, and tools for the killing. So they decide to team up, take down the Red Room, and a mysterious figure called Dreykov, who runs it, played by Ray Winstone. And before they can do this, they have to reunite the family. They have to because it's revealed at the beginning there's kind of a surrogate family that they had when they were young, played by David Harbour of Stranger Things fame, who plays the Red Guardian, who is a super soldier, just like Captain America, but a little bit washed up, and also kind of stand-in mother Melina, played by Rachel Weisz. So they have to get the family back together. They got to take down the Red Room and Dreykov and stop these Black Widows, the Black Widow program, and kind of make everything right from there. And so we delve into Black Widow's backstory a little bit. We learn about her family a little bit, and upbringing. Sorry, there's so much here. This plot is so much more complicated. It's so much more complicated, but it totally works in the movie. Like it seemed really simple when I was watching it. A lot to explain. Anyways, that's our plot. That's our setup. There's a lot going on. Zach, what do you think?
All right. So box office numbers aside, I don't want to say I was going into Black Widow thinking this was going to be an acceptable Marvel film, but I kind of was. And I'm going to tell you why. And it's because, like Andy said at the top, she's a bit of a B-lister, right? She's not like top.
She doesn't have superpowers.
It's even weird to say she is an Avenger. You think of the poster, she's down there with Hawkeye, right? She's B tier, and that's okay. She's B string. And what I love about this movie is like it totally acknowledges that and runs with it and is okay with it and answers the question of how the character might feel if they're presented with this idea that, hey, you're not like Tony Stark and you're not like Thor. You're human and you're a little special, but for the most part, you got to work with what you can. And Black Widow actually does a really brilliant job of painting Natasha Romanoff as this very human, very vulnerable character who is not the superhero that she thinks that the world thinks she is. I think who's somebody a little bit more complex than just like a character on a cereal box. In its very long runtime and a little bit of a contrived plot, movies 2 hours 15. I was surprised by how much fun I was having in my seat, and how much I was looking forward to finding out what was going to happen to our fair characters. Fantastic cast, pretty solid writing. I actually like this movie a lot. Black Widow is surprisingly good. So let's talk about it. Shoot, what's the best place to start, Andy?
Well, let's start with our cast. We are introduced to a number of new characters, and like I said, it's revealed that growing up that they had this kind of surrogate family. They were all spies as part of this, Soviet spy family in the U.S. So the Red Guardian and Melina weren't really their mother. They just were acting. So it's weird because it's a family, but not really. But they are kind of the only people that they knew for an extended period of time growing up. But we have David Harbour doing a pretty good Russian accent as the Red Guardian. Like we said,
everybody does a pretty good Russian accent in this movie.
Yeah. And it's revealed that he is, a super soldier, which it's funny because like in the MCU, it's always like, oh, there's no more super soldier serum left. There's, they're done. And then it's like, they just kind of pop up out of nowhere. But he is, the Red Guardian, and he fancies himself contemporary of Captain America, though a little bit, washed up because of the Soviet Union. But there's a lot of gags there because he's trying to like relive the glory days. Rachel Weisz plays Melina, who is kind of still working for the program, and she's a Black Widow as well. I mean, her performance is fine, but it's really nice that she's casting this because I think she's over 50 now, and it's there was a time when you wouldn't have a 50-year-old woman in an action role. And then of course the wonderful Florence Pugh, who is just stunning in everything she is, and she almost is like stealing some of this movie from ScarJo. Yeah, she's really good. So it's a really great cast, and they have to work together as this kind of dysfunctional family. And it reminded me of Fast 9, F9. I can't remember what the real name is. And
the Fast Saga.
Yeah, where that the Fast and Furious saga tries to insert all this thing about family and family bonds, and it's really just like, come on, man, it's just about the cars and the action.
It's so contrived. Yeah,
but like this is actually about family and what it means to have these kind of and especially because they're not actually like blood related. It's all kind of the surrogate family, but it's all kind of who they have. But it's a really important element, and it really works. And the movie takes a long time to really dedicate to this. There's this dinner scene that probably is like 20-25 minutes of the movie where it's just like talking.
Yeah.
so that worked for me. Go on, Zach.
Yeah, I was disappointed by not a whole lot as far as the casting goes. David Harbour is about as delightful as Rachel Weisz. They both play these kind of like patriarch and matriarch respectively to Natasha Romanoff's character. They're kind of this mother and father figure, and they're both unique in their own ways. Yeah, they're both involved with this program. David Harbour, like you said, is the Red Guardian, and he never really gets the opportunity to deliver like the sentimental like uppercut that I think David Harbour is so good at. If you've watched Stranger Things, I think it's something he's actually really fantastic at. He kind of has this I don't know, he's good at being like kind of this like sentimental dad kind of figure. He never really gets the opportunity to do that, but he does get to have a lot of fun playing this like belligerent, older, washed up Russian version of like a superhero that's just like pissed at Captain America. Like, that dude stole all my glory and I was the super soldier and I had a cool shield too. And I was, and like, that's a good time. You get some good kind of funny straw man arguments with himself through that. Rachel Weisz's character as Melina is a lot of fun. A quick mention, you mentioned it's good that she's in this because it's rare that you see women of her age getting roles like this. As far as diversity and inclusion goes in the movies, the trailers for Black Widow included 2 films featuring male Chinese leads, or I should say Asian leads, I'm sorry. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, that's the Chinese part, and Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins, which was rad. So just a quick mention. Rock on, man. The good things are happening at the movies. She's great. I like her a lot. She's kind of plays this distant, far away, removed woman who works this job that she's like not really that passionate about, and you can tell it's kind of sucked some of the soul out of her, and she's great at that. The movie features a de-aged Rachel Weisz at the beginning. It definitely made me think of like The Mummy. I was like, oh no, I remember when she was like young and vibrant and doing fun stuff, and this is so fun. But Rachel Weisz is a delight, is what I'm saying. Florence Pugh, you're 100% right, dude. She straight steals some scenes right out from under Scarlett Johansson. She's too good. She's too good to be a sidekick. She's too good to be a sidekick. Like I once again, Florence Pugh is in a role that I'm like, why are you on the sidelines? Like, you should basically be the lead. There's the same thing in Little Women. Midsommar, she obviously had some opportunity to kind of stretch her legs, and she did great. Stretch her, yeah, and I think things are good as far as the casting goes. On the other side of the aisle, we've got Ray Winstone as a kind of antagonist character. Also, William Hurt is in this film. Both of them are mediocre. Ray Winstone, I don't understand how that dude gets work. He doesn't look like anybody. He just, every time I see him in a movie, I'm just like, you look like nobody. You look like extra number 4. Like, I don't understand.
He's got a great voice, man. He's got a good voice.
That's true. He was great in Beowulf. Yeah.
He does a terrible Russian accent in this. Like, he loses his accent every like other word.
Right. The Russian accents are acceptable in this film.
Yeah, but he's still like he's a big guy. He's a big figure, and he does that thing where he talks like right in your face. That's really effective. Like he's a great actor, but it's just like you're right. He does kind of look generic.
Like anytime I see and Ray Winstone in the credits, I kind of just laugh. Like, okay, why is he on the end? He's not doing anything. I looked at his IMDb. He has like 2 notable films. Anyway, enough about Ray Winstone. Because he's fine in this movie, and for an antagonist, he does what he needs to do. But I think our plot, like I said, it's a little all over the place. It's a little large for a movie that's coming up on 2.5 hours. I did not expect this to be so global, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot going on, but it works pretty well. Like when I was in the movie, I didn't have a difficult time at all following it along what was doing. It's like, okay, first we have to free him from prison. We have to get the family back together. We have to find the location. We got to stop this. And it was all just laid out cleanly enough for me to follow, even though, like I said, me trying to recite it makes it sound super complicated.
From the comic book side, Andy, I'm hoping you can help me out with this. When does this take place in the Marvel Universe? Because the last we saw of Black Widow, she was getting iced by an Infinity Stone, and that was it. But obviously in this, she's alive. So this takes place before then?
Yes. So I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with the comics, but like I said, this is taking place before Infinity War and after Civil War. So like, not to get you too confused, right. But it's just sliding in right there, right before the events of Infinity War, and again, the films are inspired by the comics, but they're not direct translations.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think the timeline can be a little confusing if you kind of think about it too much, but this movie does a great job of dropping you right into the action. And before you know it, 20 minutes in, you're swept up in a plot involving our character. She has some kind of motivation. She's got a goal she's working towards. And it kind of just brings you along for the ride from there. And I think it does a good job of that. It reminded me a lot of like if I'm not a big Black Widow fan, but I've seen the Avengers. I'm familiar with her in passing. If I was going to go to a comic book shop and pick up Black Widow issue 1 and have no idea where it starts, this feels like a fine jumping off point for her own adventure. Like, and that I think is a sign of good writing in a comic book film.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk about the action in the film. So the action is really good. It's really great. And it's really brutal in some spots. There is a fight between Black Widow and Yelena when they kind of first fight each other. And man, they're throwing each other like through glass and through the walls. It reminds me a lot of Kill Bill, actually, like the first fight when the bride meets one of the first. Like it's just really visceral. Like it feels like they're breaking bones on each throw and each punch. But the fighting and all the action is, it's top tier Marvel. And what I think is impressive is that they've managed to make it exciting without, with characters that essentially don't have superpowers, that are, regular human people that are just a little bit less destructible than the rest of us. So the action is still really good. And, because I wasn't sure what they were going to do without any superpowers.
Yeah. It's funny, this movie, I think being set when it is, shares some similar imagery with like other Marvel properties. At one point there are like, trucks that say SHIELD on the side of them. And there's like some kind of jets that fly, like a lot of stuff you've seen in Marvel films, right? Because this takes place kind of in the middle of the timeline that we're familiar with. But what stood out to me was, the action and the cinematography. Much of this film is handheld. Which makes it feel very grounded. It feels like reality. It feels like somebody's in the room holding a camera because they are, right? You don't have these big sweeping train shots all the time. And that makes your movie feel more like real. It makes you feel like you're there. It makes our characters feel more vulnerable and more human, which is great for Natasha Romanoff. The movie was directed by Kate Shortland, who before now has done, I don't mean to speak ill of her work, but as far as nothing I know. She did a movie in 2017 called Berlin Syndrome. She did 4 episodes of a TV show, and now in 2021 she's directing a Disney film. Not sure how. Somebody over there loves her, and she's good. She was a solid director for this. It felt like her cinematography had personality. It felt unique. I also really like the lighting in this film. The color scheme of Black Widow. You can look at the poster and see it's black, it's red, and then a little bit of white for this film. And this movie does a really good job of peppering like those red lights through a lot of scenes. You'll see little glimmers of red or like striking blue light. Like, it feels like a very complete thing. I guess in shorter, in a less roundabout way of saying it, it feels like a proper Marvel film, which is exactly what it should feel like. It doesn't feel like Sony's Spider-Man. It doesn't feel like a Disney Plus series. This feels like a Marvel movie, and like, thank God, because Black Widow deserves it. Like, her character, even though she's a bit of that B-string Avenger, deserves the A-list treatment, and that's exactly what she gets here. Now, I do want to talk about the way she's treated by other people in the movie. A lot of people just call her a superhero. Are you a superhero? Or they assume that she's going to call her superhero friends the Avengers. They throw the word Avenger around a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
Despite you never actually seeing any other Avengers. And I was surprised by that. But they don't shy away from it. They don't act like she doesn't have a past. She does. And this film leans into it. And I was surprised at how well she comes out on the other side of that.
Yeah, well, what I was going to kind of get into is how like Marvel has managed to evolve even this movie. And even kind of like they poke fun at themselves a little bit in this, but they kind of get away from a lot of what they've done before. So Marvel for a while was really known for the quips, the quick, fast lines and jokes that used to be peppered all throughout. It's kind of the phase 2 and 3 films a lot, and it almost got a little cliche. And this movie's really funny. Like, there's a lot of good jokes, but it's not that kind of humor. It's just different. Like, I think they've realized, like, hey, we did that for a while. We've kind of done that enough. Let's move on. And so there's still humor, but it's just different. The other thing that stands out to me is that, the films are always having to set up new things, either a TV show or more films. And for a while, some of the phase 2 stuff seemed like that's all those films were doing, particularly something like Age of Ultron. It's setting up like 3 or 4 films. We got a little bit of this, but it was much, much smaller. It was still felt like it was focused on the Black Widow narrative and not preoccupied with, well, what's the next movie or what's the next TV show we got to set up.
Yeah, and I think that is important. Like, it gives this film like its own sense of kind of being its own thing. And it serves as, I think, a satisfying, at least like temporary indication of a pause on what this character is doing next. I don't know if they have any intentions to do anything more with the character Black Widow. Obviously, in the updated timeline after the events of Endgame, she is not around anymore. And you'll have to go see the movie and find out whether or not that's answered here. But for what it's worth, at least on my end, I don't find myself having questions about what's next. There is a post-credit scene. I think you should definitely stick around and watch. But I do wonder if they'll revisit this. What do you think, Andy? Are they going to just kind of let this be, or do you think they're going to do something with it? I mean, I know that Florence Pugh's character, I think, has been slated for a Disney Plus show. Yeah. So I think that will kind of take place after the events at the end of this movie, not necessarily what comes after the end credit scene. So I know that she's gonna kind of stick around. She's essentially gonna be the new Black Widow. I know that. Yeah. They're not there, and that reminds me of something else I read. Like, they're not signing people to like 10 film contracts anymore. Like, now that they have the universe established, it's going to be much smaller, like, groups of people or fewer films. Yeah, right. It's going to be more tangential, more spread out. You don't want to have another Endgame situation where you've got like a script bouncing between 15 writers and only parts of it know how it all works, and you've got actors all over the place. Like, that's a whole hassle. Way easier to dedicate individual projects, knock those out one by one, and then have all of those weave into a larger picture. Hopefully that works in phase 4. And it pays off in the same way Endgame did. I don't know if it will, but it definitely does feel like a little bit of a passing of the torch movie. I hope this is not the end for Scarlett Johansson in the Marvel Universe. I don't think she's contracted for anything else past here, so it probably is. But who knows? I think it's weird to create an origin film for a character after they're gone. Yeah, you know what I mean. And it begs the question: will there be more? because there wasn't supposed to be, and now there's this, right? Like there wasn't supposed to be more to Natasha Romanoff's story, and now we have a film that is surprisingly good. I don't know. I do feel like there is a scene at the end of this film that, in a small way, felt like a bit of a passing of the torch, for sure, between Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh. I don't mind that. Again, Florence Pugh is great, and she needs more work, I think, so that's good. Yeah, I think those are kind of my general impressions. And you did stick around for that end credit scene, right?
I did, yes.
Let me tell you, after it's been 2 years since we've had a Marvel movie in theaters. The last one was Spider-Man: Far From Home 2 years ago. And despite all that time, man, Marvel has people trained so good. The credits for this movie started, and like out of my whole theater, which was almost full, like 2 people got up and left. Everybody else just got their phones out and waited. That's all. I saw all the phones come out, and everybody's on Facebook scrolling, talking to their friends. And as soon as the post-credit scene comes on, everybody's like, "Shut up, shut up, shut up!" It's the scene, and everybody shuts up and watches it, and then it ends, and we all get up and leave. I was like, man, like imagine commanding that much attention from an audience that they will sit there and wait. Good for them, you know, and you should, because it's post-credits Marvel scenes. We're sticking around. Andy, any other thoughts before recommendations? I feel like I don't want to say we just skipped right over this one, but I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, we need to talk about Taskmaster, who's the
okay, let's talk about Taskmaster.
Who's kind of it's not really a big bad. It's a bad guy who is an antagonist here, who it seems like their supernatural ability is they can kind of mirror whoever they're fighting. They will learn, you know, the style or technique of whoever they're fighting. They become kind of almost a clone.
Yes.
But this character was really kind of underused. Really cool character, has like a shield similar to Captain America, but just kind of gets punched a lot and isn't really super central to the plot.
So I would liken it to, and tell me if this is a safe assumption, I don't think this is spoilery, I would liken it to the treatment of the Mandarin in Iron Man 3 versus like the actual big bad that was behind the scenes. In the comics, the Mandarin is a big deal. In the films, not so much. And I think Taskmaster has similar treatment in this one, but a solid villain. When they introduced them on screen, and explained basically the gimmick. Oh, this is somebody who can mimic anybody else's powers without any problem at all. They just see them do it once and they're on their way. I was like, that's a brilliant comic book villain idea. Brilliant comic book villain. And they are definitely underused in this movie. So hopefully they come back. Hopefully we get some more Taskmaster at some point. I know I've said that about a lot of previous Marvel villains that have not come back, but yeah, Taskmaster is cool. And I wish they had more Taskmaster scenes for sure.
Then, sorry, one final one.
Yeah. The airing of the grievances. Yeah.
Well, part of this movie is it's about, I want to talk a little bit about themes. It's a little bit, it's a female empowering movie, and there are definitely some themes that they're not hit on the head. It's not very explicitly it's not preachy, but it's definitely about themes about controlling women or attempts to control women, and like free will, personal choice. These kinds of things that are very important in the fight for equal rights. So that's also a lot that this movie is about.
Yeah, and it doesn't hit you over the head with it. I remember when the first Wonder Woman film came out, there were some people who were like, this is a lot for equality. And obviously there's been some time between now and then. That movie was coming out at a different time, blazing a different sort of trail. But there's some scenes in Wonder Woman that are very explicit, talking about the difference between men and women. The way Diana's character has this kind of meek understanding of men and the world around her. I mean, she's literally never met a man. So she's kind of got this doe-eyed impression of Steve not Rogers, whatever his name is, her boo in that movie. And it's a little awkward. And this movie doesn't do that. It entertains the same ideology, but in a different way that felt a little bit less, I don't know, in your face, I guess. And it's not that the previous one did. It's not that Wonder Woman does. But I think for all the dudes out there who went and saw Wonder Woman and are petty and are like, it's all about girl power, lame, I think they will say that less about this. And that's just from some simple shifts in scripting and how you talk about it. And I think this movie does the same thing. It might do it better. So good on Disney. And good on Marvel, and good on Black Widow. I'm surprised at how much I liked it, and that's a good thing. Andy, you ready for recommendations?
I am, for real this time.
Andy, would you recommend Black Widow?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a Marvel fan of the MCU, that's probably the one detriment. If you're not caught up on the Marvel universe, you might be a little lost. But aside from that, it's a lot of fun. There's a heartwarming story of the family, the surrogate family that they never had. It's funny. There's good action, good acting, and it's nice to be back in the theater with a Marvel movie. It makes things feel like we're almost back to normal.
Yeah, I'd recommend it as well. I had a lot of fun. If you haven't seen a Marvel movie, maybe not. Otherwise, like, a lot of fun, very enjoyable. Hey, you could still go see it and not have seen a Marvel film and be fine. Like, you would, I think you would get what's going on here and enjoy the action and enjoy the drama and enjoy the kind of adventure we're going on. So yeah, I'd recommend it. I don't know if I'd recommend watching on Disney Plus for $30, but if you've done it with previous films, nothing's there to stop you. Go nuts if you don't want to go to the theater. Otherwise, yeah, I did go see it in theaters, and the theatrical experience is okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a theatrical film.
That did remind me there were two downsides in my screening where the mix something was off about the mix, where like the voices and like sound effects were fine, but like the music was really turned down real low. But it was like not enough I was like, I feel like if I complain about this, no one's going to know what I'm talking about. But it was enough to be noticeable.
It's like when I went and saw La La Land for the podcast, and like, I swear the projector was out of focus, but I could never I was like, I can't prove it. Like, and they didn't shoot the movie out of focus. So what am I looking at here? And like, I kind of just tolerated it. That's watching movies in the theater. Well, good for you for letting other people enjoy the experience.
Yeah. So it was distracting to me, but it was fine overall. The other thing, there was someone decided to vape a few fat clouds
in your theater,
like right in front of me. Well, they only did it like 2 or 3 times at the beginning, and then that was it. But
didn't go get the manager, huh?
No. Well, if they had continued, I would have. But
that's fair. Yeah, as somebody, my first job ever was working in a movie theater, and I'm all too familiar with people coming out and being like, "Hey, somebody's doing something suspect in there. You need to go do something." Never fun to be that dude who has to go into the theater and tell an adult to stop doing something. Never cool. Never enjoyed it. But I digress. Well, if you don't want to go to the movies, you can watch the movie on Disney Plus. Like we said, it's available for premium VOD at $30 on top of your Disney Plus subscription, which seems like a lot to some people. I've rented movies like this in the past from them, or purchased, I guess I should say. Raya and the Last Dragon, I watched it that way. I can't remember the one before that, but I watched it that way too. And Disney's had, at least as far as we know until now, some success. But we've been surprised this weekend. Disney has published the numbers. They just told us flat out, hey, here's how much we made opening weekend from Black Widow in the box office. And it is a stunning number, to say the least. Andy, you want to open this up for us?
Yeah, it's time for the death of cinema. So, Black Widow stunner, Disney streaming revenue reveal may be a game changer. It's this wordy title from the Hollywood Reporter. Usually streaming services do not reveal numbers of any kind that are useful. They'll say very vague things like it was the #1 most watched thing over the weekend or the most watched thing we've ever had, but they're not any things you can really verify or kind of put real numbers to. There is some service that is attempting to do that, but it's very unclear. So this is one of the first times that a streaming service has said, this is how much money we made. It's $60 million off people renting at home. And this is a $30 rental. Like, it's not cheap at all, although it is probably cheaper if you have a large family that can go see it. But this is, this might be a game changer if they, because like I said, no one else reveals numbers. And if Disney comes out swinging, it's going to, motivate the other services to, well, if we have a hit, we got to prove that we had a hit,
So, yeah. So I think something like this is good for consumers for exactly why you just said. I want to know when something's a hit. I hate trying to figure out how well a movie did, or I hate having a third party service tell me, hey, we think this many people watched this movie on Netflix this weekend, but we're not really sure. First off, good for Disney. Blaze a trail. All right, you're big enough, you can do it. Come on, Disney, get them. Secondly, $60 million is nothing to scoff at. Hollywood Reporter dug in. They said Disney has like 103 million global subscribers, and 60 million means 2 million paid to see it. So 2 million subscribers out of 103 million said, hey, this is worth the price of admission. I'm just going to pay the $30 and watch it at home, which is nothing to scoff at. I think this says, hey, this $30 price works. I think this says it encourages other streaming services to jump on the bandwagon. And ultimately, I think it's good for us on the consumer side because I like being able to see those numbers. And for the big answer as to why they did this, we don't really know. But what we do know from one Wall Street analyst who's interviewed for this, they said it's for marketing purposes. It's easy to say a movie made over $200 million over the opening weekend. It's a psychological thing. You tell people, hey, this made $60 million with Disney Plus. They want to watch it and find out what it's all about. Maybe there's some truth to that. Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, that is an interesting thing. Yeah, without the Disney Plus numbers, they'd be saying, made $150 million, which is still really impressive. But when you can add more to it, yeah, then again, it makes buzz. If you hear a movie does incredible numbers at the box office, yeah, you might be more likely to go see it.
Yeah, I do worry this will encourage Disney to continue doing this. I like that they're announcing stuff, but I hate that they charge $30. No, for what it's worth, let me explain. For me and Christine to go see it, my partner, we went and saw it at a XD theater, right? One with like premium sound or whatever. It was like $16 a ticket. It literally would have been cheaper to stay home for two people. So like, dude, yeah, like for 30, like, I mean, we talked about it when we were ordering tickets. We were going to see it with a friend, which is ultimately why we decided to go to the theater. But in the future, like, I will probably just continue doing this. I like seeing Disney movies in a theater. But it is hard to deny with increasing ticket costs that this isn't a value, to me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I went with a friend, and it would have probably been the same, and it would have been a little bit easier to just rent it home because like we had to schedule, we had to do some driving. Some guy was vaping fat clouds in the theater. Yeah. The sound was off. Like that's what I mean. I was like, none of that would have been a problem at home.
Yep. I mean, especially if you're like date night. I mean, you could go to a theater and deal with the guy ripping dragon clouds up front. Yeah. You go home, get cozy on the couch, get a blanket, dude. Like I don't know. To each their own, I guess. But
it's definitely making it harder to want to go to the theater sometimes.
Of course. So do you think there's any chance Netflix, other companies get on board with this, start releasing numbers? I mean, what do you figure the odds are?
Well, it's weird because Netflix doesn't have, they don't charge anything extra. So they don't have any other numbers other they can say how many, if they actually admitted how many households watch something, that would be one thing. Same thing with HBO Max. It's not because they charge an extra fee for this. They can kind of pinpoint exactly how much people are paying to see it or not paying to see it. So I think that's difficult for other ones. What'll be interesting will be to see if Disney keeps doing this. Like they have the Jungle Cruise movie coming out at the end of the month. So it'll be interesting if they do this for that film as well.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, they could just be doing this to flex that they finally have a movie that's making enough money worth reporting. I mean, for all we know, Jungle Cruise comes out and they say nothing because it's a big fat bomb. We don't know. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Well,
yeah.
Well, and Shang-Chi also comes out September 3rd, and that's a Marvel film, but that is supposed to be theaters only. But who knows? They might give you the rental option as well there.
I know I mentioned Shang-Chi when I was talking about diverse trailers in front of Black Widow, but real talk, that new trailer for Shang-Chi looks like good stuff, man.
Yeah,
that's the most exciting trailer I've seen yet. The first couple, I was like, this looks all right. And then I saw it in Black Widow in the theater, was like, okay, I see what's going on here. This movie looks dope. I hope it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think this is good for people. I think it's good for streaming services. I think companies being transparent about earnings is a positive metric for everybody. But not everybody does it, so we'll have to wait and see. One more thing I wanted to ask before we move on to the final film of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, do you think future Marvel films are going to start? Do you think the future Marvel movies are going to start to collapse under the weight of the rest of the franchise? I mean, Black Widow has a bit of that problem. It's hard to recommend if you haven't seen other Marvel films, because it's like, dude, they're talking about characters and events. You're going to have no idea what they're saying. I know Phase 4 is supposed to move into this fresh open space, but I'm going to be honest, it's going to be hard for me to watch Eternals when I'm thinking to myself, hey, where are the Avengers? Do they come up? Or same with Shang-Chi. At some point, I'm like, why isn't Iron Man flying in to help out? You know what I mean?
I think they are trying to somewhat, I'm not start over, but definitely introduce new properties and new things that aren't interacting with the existing MCU. Like, you know, I mean, I don't really know much about the Eternals, but I think they're trying to not have it mix as much as it did before. Who knows? I mean, but you're right. We may reach a point where, okay, we have Marvel's Phase 1 through 7, and okay, we need to stop and start over with something new because people haven't watched all 48 movies.
Yeah, like how far are we from just like, we got to wipe the slate clean, which is supposed to be what happened at the end of Endgame, but like even then, I know this is a movie that is derivative of those films. I totally get it. And this was supposed to come out a couple years ago before the pandemic. Like, so there's been this delay and it feels weird now, but I don't know. Yeah, just watching it, I couldn't help but think at some point, I was like, where are all the other superheroes? Like, when are they going to come crashing in to save the day here? And fortunately, they don't. Black Widow has the opportunity to do this all on her own. But, you know, as this grows, as we get bigger, it seems like an inevitable question, right?
Right. Well, I know part of what they're doing, DC's doing this as well, is introducing the concept of the multiverse, where every character can do anything you want. You want to kill them off. You want them to have a different story arc. You want them to be a good guy, a bad guy. That, you know, you kind of do whatever. And that's, once we get there, we're firmly into comic book world, because that's what comics do all the time. And comics are also designed for you to like just pick one up and start from wherever, even if you haven't read the entire, you know, Batman mythos.
Yeah, and I wonder if that'll be something they get better at too. Or it'll go the other way and it'll be like, what, do you mean you didn't watch these 4 series on Disney Plus? Well, of course you have no idea what's happening in this film, you fool. Yeah, we'll see. But just an afterthought, I guess. Anyway, we should move on to the next review, the final review of this episode. I'm going to take somewhere on this one. The movie is Nobody. So, Nobody is the story of Hutch Mansell, an underestimated and overlooked dad living in suburbia. Hutch is played by Bob Odenkirk. Hutch, is just a quiet, meek, mild-mannered dad who works at a lumber mill and goes to work Monday through Friday and just does his thing. One night, his house gets robbed and a couple of unsuspecting burglars happen upon him. And rather than take him out with a golf club like the grizzled war veteran he used to be, instead, he leans on the side of being calm, kind, mild-mannered suburban dad. Doesn't hurt him. They get away. He catches some flack from the cops who are like, if that had been my family, I'd have messed him up, man. And then slowly he realizes that this long simmering rage that has been sitting under this facade of being a suburban father is slowly coming back to life. And this incident was the spark that really set the whole thing off. It turns out he has a past. He's done some nasty things to people, and he's a pretty tough somebody, or rather nobody. And once he begins to take action into his own hands to find these people who robbed him, he unsuspectingly sets off the attention of the Russian drug mob, and things get nuts. The movie is Nobody. It stars Bob Odenkirk along with Connie Nielsen, Christopher Lloyd, and Michael Ironside. Andy, what did you think?
So I've heard a lot of buzz about this actually in the last couple of months, and I wanted to see this when it came out, but it also looked a little generic, and I was like, well, that looks like it might be kind of forgettable. But I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. The action it's pretty gruesome. It's over the top. Lots of shooting, lots of fighting, hand-to-hand combat. Bob Odenkirk, who knew, is convincing as an action star. You know, I could see him taking up the kind of roles that Liam Neeson should have retired from a long time ago. But there's a lot of humor. This whole thing of him, like we've seen this kind of story played before. Harry Brown comes to mind, of the quiet average citizen who's actually a killer in disguise, special forces. So this isn't treading new ground, but it does feel kind of a fresh take, because he is he is a lot of his character from Better Call Saul, his more kind of tame, wound down version of himself. Because again, he has a mundane job. He lives in suburbia. He jogs every day. He has this routine. Everyone kind of thinks he's a pushover. He doesn't get any respect from his father-in-law and brother-in-law. And when he finally has the opportunity to unleash his his particular set of skills, it's really incredible. And what's great is that a lot of times these movies, they'll be like, oh, I thought I put that guy away, but he just had to come out. Like when he does it, he's like, no, he's been waiting for this character to be unleashed. And him being mild-mannered, Hutch, everyday Hutch is the disguise. That's not who he is. He is like an ass-kicking, bone-breaking, like face-smashing, gun-shooting SOB. And that's who he is, and that's who he's missed being.
It's true. He's a bit of the Bruce Wayne Batman archetype. And while I really enjoyed seeing Bob Odenkirk just tear it up on screen, I mean, he's got a background not only in comedy, but in improv, obviously Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. He's done some serious drama work. He's great in this movie. He does a fantastic job of carrying the lead, being the protagonist. I liked him a lot. His character does have a bit of this, on the one hand, absolute nefarious side of like, I will mess up anybody always. On the other hand, he's like, he's a little like Woody Woodpecker. Like he's invincible and nothing will ever mess him up. And he will always get one over on everybody. And he will work up some quick MacGyver style solution to whatever the problem is. And like, I know that's the point of the movie. The movie poster has a bunch of fists punching the dude in the face, right? Like, I get it. And Odenkirk's great for that role. But it does make it feel a little flat in its delivery to me.
It's a bit like Rambo.
But fortunately, yeah, it's not like 2 hours long like Rambo. It's a tight 90 minutes. And if I'm watching an action movie, dude, I couldn't ask for more than like a tight 90-minute fun romp feature. And I love it. It's good stuff. So let's jump into it. I talked a little bit about Odenkirk. Anybody else in performances you want to mention? I did want to talk about Connie Nielsen, his wife, who is the most wooden housewife I've ever seen on screen, I think. Christopher Lloyd as his dad is too old to be in movies anymore. I love Christopher Lloyd to death. Dude, just go home. Like, and the big bad, Alexei Surabayakov, as kind of our Russian mobster individual. I haven't seen him in much. He was actually okay. I kind of liked him a little bit. He's like a bit of a karaoke singer on the side, and he's kind of dynamic, like not too shabby. Yeah.
Connie Nielsen, for those who aren't familiar, she was in the two Wonder Woman movies. She plays Wonder Woman's mother, Hippolyta.
Who's a character who's intentionally like closed off, and she's also in Gladiator.
Yeah,
similar thing. Like that's her character, and like that's cool.
Yeah, I feel like she was just kind of wasted a little bit in this movie. The side characters are fun. Again, Christopher Lloyd playing he is supposed to be playing his dad, so he is kind of in that age range. Special appearance from RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan.
That was a surprise.
Nice to see him. I saw him in the credits, and I noticed his voice. Like you hear his voice before you see him. So knew right away. You are right though. He does he's a little bit too invincible. He needs to be a little bit more fragile.
I don't know. I'm not to say he's not invincible, but like when you saw the trailer for this film, I don't think I'm surprising anybody by saying, we have our protagonist who's just like mega badass man, who will work over a army of faceless, nameless Russian goons who come running at him down a hallway, right? Like, and that's great because that's what you're signing up for when you go to see the film. But this movie, like, it goes around on itself. It makes fun of it. Like the way it's edited, the editing of this movie is actually really fantastic. It features a lot of like jump cuts through Hutch's day. The film opens on like a week in the life of Hutch, and it's like a 2-minute sequence, and it goes Monday to Friday. It's so fast, like it just flies by you because his daytime life outside of this is boring. It's dull. He is a normal person. Like that is the whole thing. And the movie approaches that in a very tongue-in-cheek format. It does the same thing with its action. Its action is over the top to a fault. and it kind of laughs at itself that way. It's almost like poking you in the ribs, like, hey, you're seeing this, right? This is funny. You like this. And I do, because again, like 90 minutes, tight, fast, easy, great. It's simple film. But it's like, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. It's like protagonist exploitation or something. Like, we have a character who is just Billy badass all the time, and that's great. But like, it doesn't make them human. It makes him invincible. And like, I wish our mild mannered Hutch was actually as mild tempered. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you see what I mean, right? I'm not crazy.
He needs to have some flaws. He is a little bit Mr. Perfect, because even as, like, you know, as a husband and father, he is like perfect as well. You know, takes out the trash, good with the kids. Like, it's and they kind of have a struggling marriage, but it's not really clear why.
Yeah,
you know?
like this doesn't feel like an action film you would go to the theater and see. It feels like an action film you would see Homer and Bart watching on their TV in The Simpsons. Like, it's like a mock of like an action film, but in the best way. Like, not in a bad way, in a good way, but like, I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on what's happening here, and it's unique. And I wanted to make sure we talked about it a little bit.
I think the runtime, like you said, has a lot to do with how enjoyable this is. By contrast, one of the movies we talked about, seeing the Tomorrow War, I did sit through it mostly on my phone. That movie is 2.5 hours long, and it feels like it's ending around 100 minutes, and then it just goes on for another 40 minutes and like 2 acts worth. And it's like, criminal. And that movie has a lot of kind of mindless action as well. And I was like, that would have worked for 100 minutes, but not for 200 minutes. There's nothing to sit through.
There's nothing worse than a movie that feels like it's ending and has another whole act to go. When your movie feels like it's ending, it's because it is. Wrap it. Like, it's over. Like, you've lost your audience. People are ready. We're satisfied with what's happening. My God. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad we didn't watch Tomorrow War. I heard really middling things about it too. I'm glad we watched this. This is unique. And the runtime definitely doesn't hurt it. It's lacking in like a big cast. It's lacking in a big budget, but it's really simple. It's got great action too, by the way. For me sitting here grandstanding about how Bob Odenkirk is like a Looney Tune. It's very good. The first real action scene you get, there's no music. It's just dudes grunting as they beat the hell out of each other. And it's great. And it really only goes from there. Our soundtrack does feature a lot of 50s and 60s like swing and kind of bandstand music. I don't know why that is, but it's surprisingly good. A lot of Frank Sinatra, a little bit of like Sam Cole. I don't know. Not Sam Cole. Who am I thinking of? I don't know who I'm thinking of. But Nat King Cole. That's who I'm thinking of. Or Sam Cooke. There you go. But for what it's worth, like, the movie is put together in a surprisingly formidable fashion that feels unique and feels like its own thing. It's director Ilya. I'm not going to get his name right. Ilya Naishuller. Most recently did Hardcore Henry. If you remember that movie.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I think that's part of the reason. Like, it feels like it just has this really visceral, cut straight to the point approach in its action and in its story. It's 90 minutes, dude. We're not screwing around when we watch Nobody. Like, we're getting to the goods now, and like, mad respect. That's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah, and like I think one of the big things this movie has accomplished is, like I said, it set up Bob Odenkirk to be an action star, which is like the last thing you would think, because he's known best for Better Call Saul. Or that role is Saul Goodman, and he's done a lot of film since then. But this is the first time he's been like the main lead in doing the action stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. I was just looking up what he's got on up next, and it's mostly TV. I mean, for the foreseeable future, he's just doing TV work, including Better Call Saul, of course, which obviously is plenty of drama, but. He's a lot going on. The last movie I saw him in was Little Women, which also starred Florence Pugh. Yeah,
I know, that's right. The last thing I remember seeing him, he's playing the father figure in the period piece.
Yeah,
and now he's like breaking Russian's jaws.
Movie. and then before that, he was in Incredibles 2 as like the kind of fake villain. Like, I don't know. Like, I think he's got a lot of range, and he's surprisingly good in this movie. Like, you root for him, you want him to succeed. But he's definitely got that dark side. He's definitely got that razor's edge on the backside. I mean, even his family at some points are looking at him like, who the hell are you? And The movie doesn't really answer that. I guess the answer is he's nobody. That's the whole gag. Like he's just some guy, you know?
And I think, what I was going to say, that's really where his acting really comes into play, where like his version of mild-mannered Hutch Mansell is really convincing. And then when he flips the switch, because then he's not just punching and kicking everyone. His whole attitude changes. You know, his like, I'm going to kill you and everyone in this room right now. His demeanor is different, and that's really convincing as well.
Mm-hmm. It's a little weird on the physical side, I should say. Odenkirk does not look like he should be dancing with all these dudes. I mean, Odenkirk was born in 1962. All right. And he's fighting like 22-year-old Russian gangsters that have guns with his fists. And they're like throwing him through walls and stuff. I'm like, okay, he's not Superman.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you could say the same thing about Liam Neeson. Like Liam Neeson was taking these roles. I didn't realize.
Very true.
I didn't realize actually he was this. I thought he was like 50, so he's actually 61.
Yeah.
Or almost 60. He's almost 60.
Yeah, like, and he doesn't quite look it. I mean, he looks like he's in late 40s, early 50s. I think he looks fine, but I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to put my finger on what's happening in this movie, but it's unique and I like it. So yeah. Anyway, I'm starting to talk in circles. I know I am. So we should probably wrap this. Any other thoughts, Andy? Action, adventure, music, casting. I mean, performances.
Like I said, it was a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of style for how like short and kind of small the movie is. Like I said, the action's really convincing, and it's like I haven't seen John Wick, but this seems to be a little bit more brutal than that, a little bit more gory and kind of visceral.
Yeah, I don't know the connection. I know in the trailers they said it was from the producers of John Wick or something. It's not. I looked it up. It's not set in the same universe. It does not follow the rules of John Wick. There's not, like, as far as I know, some secret organization that he's a part of or anything. Like, it's a bit more cut and dry than that. But I mean, just looking at the poster, right? John Wick 3 had the poster with Keanu Reeves and all the guns around him. This has the exact same poster, but a bunch of fists, and one of them's punching him in the face. Like, it 100% has John Wick energy, big time. But it's not actually a John Wick movie. So, you know, if you're a John Wick fan, I think you'll be pleased. Any other thoughts or recommendations?
I'm ready.
Andy, would you recommend Nobody?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's humorous. It's quick. I mean, like I said, it's a tight 90. I love a movie that just fits its runtime really well. It's got great action. Bob Odenkirk in a role that you probably haven't seen him. I don't think he's ever done like an action film like this. Been an action lead. Good supporting cast. Shout out to the Wu-Tang Clan. So I had a lot of fun. It is not streaming anywhere yet. You do have to rent it for $6.
Yeah, it is a $6 rental. I think it's worth the price. I had a lot of fun watching this. It's simple. It's got some unique choices in its editing and its direction that I think are going to make me want to see what this director's doing next. Obviously, this is their first big directorial feature outside of Russia, where they've done some work, and also Hardcore Henry, which I guess was big. Hardcore Henry was kind of big, right? I feel like if you know it, when I say it, you thought it was big, and if not, then you have no idea what it is. But ultimately, it's a fun time. Yeah, it kind of breaks the rules a little bit on how an action film should work, but in the best way. It's unique. It's engaging. I had a surprising amount of fun with Nobody. I think you will too.
Do you know what they need? Sorry, before you go on, you know what they need to do with this trope? This like the mild-mannered guy who's a secret badass. They need to do it. They need to do the female version where you take like Helen Mirren. It's like special force. Start breaking jaws. Yeah, that would be charming. I'm sure there are films out there that are like that. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. But hey, speaking of movies with exciting female action protagonists, guess what we're watching next week, Andy? We are going to be watching Gunpowder Milkshake, which is an action assassin John Wick-esque film starring Karen Gillan and a host of other big female names. Angela Bassett,
Lena Headey is in that movie.
Yes. Carly Gugino. That's a lot of fun. That's going to be on Netflix, actually starting tomorrow, July 14th. And then we're also going to be looking at Space Jam: A New Legacy. Welcome
to the jam. Yes.
which will be both in theaters and on HBO Max, and that'll be on at the end of the week, July 16th, this Friday.
I'm going to call it. I'm going to get out in front of it. Space Jam: New Legacy, and I haven't seen it. I think it might be potential for like worst film of the year. There's potential for it to be horrendously bad. I mean, it's a long shot for sure. It could be great. Who knows, right?
I've never seen the original one because I was too old for it. I was too cool. I was like 14, so it was way too cool for kids' films. So no, I never.
Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan, the biggest basketball star that ever walked the planet. I mean,
especially at that time. No, I was too cool for it.
You should probably watch the original between now and then. I would encourage you.
I probably, but then I'll have to rent it and everything. But.
Do you really? It's not. It probably isn't streaming anywhere. That's how this works. If the sequel's coming out, it's never going to be streaming somewhere. Like you got to go pay for it. That's how it always goes.
Right.
Well.
And then I just want to mention some things we have coming up. July 23rd is the release of M. Night Shyamalan's Old, as well as Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins. And then at the end of the month, we have Disney's Jungle Cruise, starring The Rock and Emily Blunt, and The Green Knight, which we are both looking forward to immensely.
Yes, very much looking forward to The Green Knight. I know this next week, like we said, we're doing Space Jam and Gunpowder Milkshake. The week after, a little bit of show, they call it.
Hiatus.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, we're taking a break for a week because I'm going out of town. So we'll talk about that next week when we get closer to it. But coming back from that, dude, I'm so ready for Green Knight. I'm stoked. I'm mildly ready for Old. I watched the new trailer in front of Black Widow. How do we know how long Old is? That movie better be 85 minutes. Doesn't even be 90. Like that premise is so short.
It's a thin premise, for sure.
It's very thin. It's a very thin premise. Like unless that movie goes to some crazy places, which the trailer in no way indicates will happen. I don't know, dude. Like Old, I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical about it, I guess is what I'm saying.
It hasn't. I haven't seen a runtime release. IMDb updated their interface, and I cannot find like times, runtimes for any of this stuff.
IMDb's just always getting worse. That's the big secret to IMDb. It's
absolutely.
Like yeah. Anyway, if you enjoyed the show today, our rambling about Black Widow, or my nonsensical explanation of what's happening in Nobody, our Death of Cinema segment, maybe the news, if you have any opinions, hot takes, comments, things you want to share with us, you can email us at mail@offscriptfilmreview.com. You can comment on Facebook, where we live stream the show every single Tuesday, including right now. If you're watching live on Facebook, hi. Whoever was just left, never mind. See ya. You can engage with us there. We're on Twitter. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. You can comment down there. You can like what we're doing. You can follow our page for more. But the biggest thing you can do to help the show, if you want to get involved, is just subscribe. Subscribe to Off Script Film Reviews. You get new episodes every single Tuesday delivered straight to your phone. You can be the first to find out what movies are worth watching, what movies are worth staying home for. Movies are expensive. Podcasts are cheap. Subscribe to Off Script. It's free. And, rate a review if you have the means. If you have a moment, we'd love a 5-star rating from you. That'd mean a lot. And, check out our website, too, offscriptfilmreview.com, where we post interviews, episodes, clips, teasers, segments, all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, that's Off Script, episode 148. Man, it's already behind us. Andy, any other thoughts?
No, I think have a good time in the movies. Yeah, have a good time in the movies.
That's right. From all of us at Off Script, the home of Bold Cinema, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.